Hey everyone, it's Nightharo here, and today I have my review of Ossein Cage, the new trial for the Elder Scrolls Online. So, for those of you who don't know, I run a trials guild specializing in helping new players get into veteran trials. So, got a lot of experience with this and veteran content more generally. So, I'm just going to go ahead and start. We're going to jump right in. Guys, I'm not going to pull any punches, but I'm also not trying to hate on anybody, okay? I'm just trying to give a good review and hopefully some good feedback for the folks over at ZOS. So, let's start off. First thing, when you come into the trial and you walk in, 1,000 times better than Sanity's Edge. Sanity's Edge was all reused content right when you started, and it was very clear that that's what it was. Put a poor taste in my mouth from the very beginning. Now, whenever you actually enter the trial, and there will be some light spoilers here, guys, just FYI, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. So first thing is the trash bags, guys. The trash that just does not want to stack. I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but it was a terrible one, and it just feels terrible. You know, having tanks that are skilled and being a tank that's skilled and you know how to stack trash effectively and quickly feels great. It's a good play style. Having trash packs that won't stack, it feels like no matter what, feels really bad and feels like garbage. And then it's like, what do I even do as a tank? Because I can't really seem to do anything. It's a horrible idea. It was a horrible decision. I hope you guys change it because there's no reason for it. But what happens right now is as soon as you aggro certain mobs, they will immediately begin an animation or a mechanic and they won't move. And it's so hard to get them into a stack. It's not fun. It's not really cool. It just kind of sucks, honestly. Now, after the first trash packs, there is a section where you'll have to kind of go off and maybe split up, or some people go to a side. And the mechanics there are okay. They're not really that big of a deal, and then they're incredibly punishing. So it's like a very binary. Either you do the mechanic or you die, but there's not also a lot of telegraphing what the mechanic is or that it's happening. You just suddenly die. That's confusing. It's not incredibly fun. It's not intuitive for people to figure out. Your average player is not going to go in there and figure out and understand what's going on. Once everybody knows, they'll share it with other people, but not incredibly well done. The other thing is that there's kind of this, throughout the trial, during the trash packs and stuff like that, there's kind of this feeling of like, hey, you might split up and one of the group go one way and one go the other. This was tried with Dreadcell Reef, and it was close to being done right. I really like the idea, and I think most players like the idea of having to split up in a trial into smaller groups and go do things. Not like Sanity's Edge, second boss. That mechanic is absolutely garbage and belongs in a dungeon. But there are mechanics that, splitting people up and having them have to go do things in smaller teams, super fun. I think a lot of us really like that. It's almost done right. There's not really any challenge on each given side. The mechanics are really weird and not telegraphed well. And most of the time, you don't really need to even split up. And so half the group is left kind of hanging out behind, I guess, to, I don't know, text on their phone or something. So there's a little bit of weirdness there. And I'm not trying to be harsh, guys. I'm just telling you, this is just the truth. All right. So that's kind of how the trash goes for the most part. It's a little bit, the fact that things won't stack is just super annoying. It's really bad and it should be changed. The splitting mechanics are pretty meh. Again, the mechanic like ramps up to where all of a sudden you're dead and there's no telegraphing. And I don't think most people are going to know what's going on unless they're told. A lot of people are going to use add-ons. I don't really see in the game how it's telegraphing to you what's going on. I don't want to use add-ons, and it just doesn't do it very well. Okay, first boss. First boss is pretty interesting and pretty fun. It seems to be the most fun. It was actually quite difficult to get past it. If you're a developer at ZOS, one thing I would say is go look at Dreadcell Reef. Dreadcell Reef is how a trial should be made. Dreadcell Reef is the A tier of trials. And the reason for that is because in Dreadcell Reef, in so many fights, everybody has to do a job and has to do their job. Some people have more important jobs than others. Some people have, way more, it's if they mess up, they're going to die and everybody's going to die. And that's what makes it so cool. And so everybody really has to do a job. The first boss on the twins, that's what makes it so cool. So the first boss in Ossein Cage, there's a group that kind of does a portal mechanic. The portal mechanic is probably like 3 or 4 down on the list as far as good or bad portal mechanics. We see repeated bad mechanics from other places in the trial that we've already talked about. Also like kind of the probably some of the best portal mechanics is Sunspire, particularly hard mode when things matter. those are great. And I mean, to the lesser extent, DPS creep has made non-hard mode kind of trivial, but those are really good mechanics. There's a lot of things you need to know to be able to do the portal mechanic. So kind of S tier. I mean, Cloud Rest isn't bad either. As far as portal mechanics go, the new one, it's pretty bad. It's not that great, to be totally honest with you. For the group staying in the main area, there's some cool mechanics that happen with this trial, and there's some interesting things that kind of go on, but overall, no one has to really be organized or work together. And what you find is that the players that are the least experienced die more often because they are not as good. So they're not avoiding mechanics, not roll dodging things. And the fight is just set up for that to happen. And so that sucks for new people, and it just isn't incredibly fun for them, I don't think. So I think a lot of people are going to get really frustrated, and it doesn't really make for an enjoyable experience like overall. There are some interesting mechanics with, various ads combining and making, bigger ads. Yeah, that's really cool. That's a cool idea. Again, it's not really well telegraphed what is going on. I mean, yes, they combine, but like when do those things come out? There's a lot of stuff that's not telegraphed very well at all. And there's also, like, if I'm just an average DPS in that group, what do I have to do? I have to DPS and don't die. I don't really have to do anything. I'm not grabbing a dome. I'm not moving over. I'm not stacking for anything. And so it's kind of like, why is this a trial if we're not having to work as a group, which is a core part of what makes a trial a trial. I feel like I'm talking to a ZOS employee, and I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but here we are. So moving past that, we see some of the, after the first boss, yeah, it's actually the best boss, to be totally honest with you. And it's decent. It's decent, but we're not having to work together as a team. The second boss, trash, I already kind of talked about. It's really just the same stuff that's over and over again. There's some cool looking mechanics. There's some things that are kind of fun and make for funny situations where bosses or ads have really big AoEs, and it's hilarious that they kill everybody. That part's great, actually. I really like that. It's cheeky. The second boss, is there a second boss? Like, I mean, it's pretty milquetoast. Like, there's nothing you really need to do. I mean, there's a couple of things you have to do, but like, it's really easy, and you're just DPSing. It could be any trial or any play. It feels like AA almost. Like, there's just not that much going on. And there's like one heal check, and that's kind of it. And it's not even that much of a heal check. So yeah, the second boss, there's really nothing good or bad to say about it. I mean, it's a boss, it's there, but there's nothing good to say about it, which is not great, but not horrible. The third boss, and I would say the second boss, like the staging arena, is really cool, and I think some cool things could have been done, and they weren't. The third boss, the last boss, and there's some mini bosses along the way, guys. The mini bosses, and actually several mechanics, speaking of the first boss, require you to interrupt, or you die, or other people die, or it's just a one shot, or the whole group dies. That's not really fun. It's not really entertaining. It makes really hard for pugs, and it's just not a good mechanic. It's so binary. It's not good. That's all there is to it. And anyway, so that's on the mini bosses. Otherwise, they're kind of fine. They're fine. For the last boss, it's the same deal. There's a portal mechanic that half the group goes into, or whatever, I don't know, maybe more, maybe less, and does a thing. It's a huge area, and it's really spread out, and it's just like the worst thing in the world to heal, and it's just like a bunch of cats running around. There are some interesting tank mechanics that are decent. For the healers, like, I don't know, you're just trying to cause healers PTSD for running around trying to heal everybody. And for DPS, like, you're not doing anything hardly as a team. Yes, there's a couple mechanics where you've got to do something, but they're kind of like pug griefing mechanics. Like, pugs are going to struggle so hard with them, and other people are not going to have any issue whatsoever. They're not fun. It's again, Dreadcell Reef being like the gold standard for Elder Scrolls Online, trials, is, there's no working together as a team. There's no certain people have to do certain things. There's, situations where one person in a pug could totally grief the entire group, and it just is not going to go incredibly well. And again, it's just like a res prog, which it's nice that you can kind of recover on the last boss. I mean, kind of ridiculously so, but again, there's nothing that you're having to work together for, as a group. I would say the main things, like for feedback for ZOS, for anybody who's making a trials. First off, why are we in a group if we're not having to work together as a team? Second, don't put dungeon mechanics that you guys have designed for dungeons into a trial and think like Sanity's Edge, second boss, and think that like, hey, this is a good thing. It's not. Please don't do that. Please don't even think about doing that. But we would like to have to work together as a team and do difficult things where everybody has to work together again as a team. And then you got to improve telegraphing of mechanics and what's going on. I think that is probably one of the worst out of all the trials that I know of as far as telegraphing mechanics. Like, it's probably one of the lowest, and it doesn't really make things clear. I kind of wonder if, I don't know, I'm probably giving more credit than is necessarily due. I kind of wonder if it's like, oh, well, this will be confusing for them and hard for them to figure out or something. If that's what you're thinking, like no, no, don't do that. It doesn't make any sense. You really want the trial to explain to the players what they need to do without having to look at add-ons, without having to look at logs and all this other stuff. I think you should play the game, and the game should tell you everything you need to know. I think more likely it's just a lack of care. And so those things weren't put into the game. And I'm sure that probably hurt somebody's feelings out there who made this, but that's what it feels like. So overall, what do I think of it? Good or bad? My expectations for ESO trials have come down over the years, again, with Dreadcell Reef being, the top there. Sanity's Edge being one of the worst ones in recent memory. Rockgrove was also really great because, again, a lot of people have to do different mechanics. It's mid. It's decidedly mid. It's okay. It's not bad. It's fun. It's new. It's different. The ads not stacking is completely just, it's one of the dumbest things I've seen in recent memory, right up there with some of the things from Sanity's Edge. The look of the trial overall, better. We're in Cold Harbor. I don't know why we haven't got a trial that used some of the new assets that you guys have made, such as, from Apocrypha. That would be super cool. That'd be really cool. That'd be awesome. And instead, we're using the same assets that we've had in the base game. I don't know. That's a head scratcher to me. I thought this was supposed to be the big thing that you give us in-gamers every year, that we look forward to, because we look forward to it every single year. But yeah, anyways, that's my take overall. It's decidedly mid. I think it's going to be pretty griefing for, a lot of griefing for pugs. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to farm it for content. It'll be great, but it doesn't feel like an organized group content, construct. It feels like something that was made, and you could have 3 people go in there. You could have 12 people go in there, and it doesn't really matter. And they could kind of work together, but they don't have to work together really, for the most part. So that's kind of odd in general. So anyways, that's my review, guys, just straight off the cuff here. And, yeah, we'll see. I've ran it quite a bit. We'll be running it some more. I'm sure I'll do the hard mode when it comes out. So, I guess drop by one of the live streams if you want to see more. All right. We'll catch you guys later. Thanks everybody for watching.